welcome to our latest round recap video for the 2022 NPLW season. Now, of course, as you would have noticed, at least if you are one of our more regular listeners, that last week we did miss a recap video. This was due to health reasons, so this will be another double recap. So let's crack on and let's have a little look into our round 8th fixture against Bulleen. Overall, starting off a relatively standard squad, nothing overly beyond. Certainly wasn't perhaps the greatest momentum in how we would wish to start the game, having relatively early on going down a goal, as I think this is certainly a mark of just how physical Bulleen were. They can be quite an aggressive side, especially when they feel like they're under pressure, which was certainly something we of course felt in retaliation, particularly keeper Jenna Farrow, who was making some fantastic saves, as per usual. But beyond that, of course, it wasn't much longer into the match till we got out first. And that was an absolute breathtaking goal by Francesca Iramano. Truly push cash contender. Fantastic bit of footwork. Beyond that, not too much really that could be noted, aside from ourselves off on the sidelines having to get into the action, thanks to a rather stray ball, let's just say. Otherwise, of course, ended on a bit of a down note as we went on to be 2-1 down going into half time. Beyond that, not much more we could really mention about the first half, at least nothing that really stood out in exceptional concern. The other thing that was really of exceptional concern was the fact we went down 3-1 not long after we got back in to the action. This was about the 50th minute, top of our heads. Certainly not great in terms of how we wanted to dictate the rhythm for the second half. And so it was very much an uphill battle. But this was a battle that the likes of Lawson, Pickett were very much keen to remedy. And they certainly made their impact going up front. Indeed, it was the boot of Pickett managed to bring it back to 3-2 with assist from Jana Lawson. Jana herself actually seemingly getting injured, but she was all right in the end. Beyond that, again, not a lot to note, as it was generally quite an average affair in terms of how we play, our Bulleen play, until we got to the last few minutes of the match, with 4 minutes of injury time allowing us to get a third goal back, this time courtesy of Jana Lawson, making the final result 3-3. And of course, anyone who manages to make Bulleen cry is bound to get our UCA. Indeed, it was certainly one that was long overdue for Lawson, given how she's been playing week in, week out, and just how much an effort she makes.
Ball is worked from O'Brien and Privatelli. High ball in. Elianis, glancing header. Stays out, but remains in play. TJ Vlanich. She'll whip it in now. Elianis again. Sails over her head. Miocic heads clear. Byrne! Alana Byrne off the post! And into the back of the net. Alana Byrne, second goal of the season. Bulleen's first of... Goff is there. Grace Taranto has come forward as well. Instead it's going to go short. Yamano. Brings it back into the left, and then a ball in. It's going to go over Shields and Francesca Giamano. How about that? What an equaliser from the youngster. Right foot, left foot, chip, goal. Zeus is teeing it up, although that could be subterfuge. Zeus over the top, Janczewski along the ground. Alana Janczewski finds the back of the net. Her first goal of the campaign. Look at Boleyn, get around her. High ball over the top. Privatelli trying to chase it down, working against Stringfellow. Stringfellow went for Privatelli, left the ball behind, and she's going to get punished as Janczewski gets her second of the game. Pinpoint cross from Privatelli. And Bulleen take a 3-1 lead 5 minutes into the second stanza. She gets muscled off it, and Toronto comes away. Appeals for handball. They're not going to be given, and now Lawson has time and space. Pickett is in the middle. Goff is as well. Lawson, low ball across. And it is sent into an open goal by Caitlin Pickett. Bulleen appealing for the offside call. It didn't come. Lawson, time and space to carry the ball inside. 45 seconds of extra time now played here at the Veneto Club. Desperation areas for South Melbourne as they come again. Pickett on the right. Ball comes in the direction of Goff. Cleared away. Lawson! It's tied up! Lawson at the death! South Melbourne 3, Bulleen 3. From 3-1 down. The visitors have come to tie this one up in extra time.
That was our 9th round tie against Bayside. And of course, still at 6th for this one. So we had perhaps the more relaxed position of the home terrace. Now again, much like the Bulleen fixture, this is a very consistent lineup we had starting off, with one notable exception, and that being the introduction of Cassie Carman in terms of being part of our starting 11. Of course, Cassie is one of those players that certainly gets a bit of minutes here and there, thrown off from the bench. Certainly does well to make an impact, particularly with her long distance throws, which is very much reminiscent of Max Mikula in our lads side, who is very much notable for seemingly being able to get the ball halfway up the pitch from a throw. Otherwise, beyond that, what felt like it could have been a rather fair and balanced match was quickly unhinged, given that we managed to go not 1, not 2, but 3-0 up within the first 10 minutes, with goals courtesy of Kiara Hanopoulos, Yana Lawson, and Caitlin Pickett. Indeed, by the time we actually managed to get all the way back to our goal, time Jenna Farrow managed to get in on the action, it seemed like we should have been up maybe 4, given just the time consistencies we had up front scoring. Indeed, Old Farrow certainly didn't seem to have so much to really do for the first 15. So it's certainly a good thing that she is always alert and ready for action, as is part of her highly reliable nature as a goalkeeper. Otherwise, beyond that, we saw a nice bit of fancy footwork from Hanopoulos, showing off her class. And would then go on to make it 4-0. And this was done via technically an own goal. Certainly one that Bayside perhaps could have done more to prevent, as one of those that shouldn't really happen. But we're certainly glad it did, at least from our own scoreline perspective. Beyond that, Grace Toronto was really getting into the action. She was a very noticeable figure in battling within the midfield, really much putting her body on the line. Kat Goff was showing off her pace and just showing how much of a credit she is both to our club, but also to the team. Very, very positive. Otherwise, not too much more of a note, aside from, I suppose, the more expected figures making their mark, like Goff, like Lawson, like Taranto, Miricic, getting in there and just making their mark and ensuring that the team is doing their part, linking up together and just trying to play good football. I was the only perhaps more unusual side of all this, in terms of players really coming up, making their mark, and just really going beyond their regular levels of influence, was Sophie Papasanis, who was looking incredibly pacey that afternoon. Certainly a side that you don't always see with her, but when it does come out, it is always enjoyable to see how the ball's being built up along the wing, and how the team's going. Beyond that, also, let's acknowledge the defensive efforts of Yara Lawson, who was coming back a couple of times, which is something perhaps a little bit out of position originally for herself, given how far forward she does play. But the fact that she could keep coming back, coming into a more defensive role, and ensuring that all nice and solid in the back, certainly just shows how much of a quality footballer she is. Otherwise, just before half time, we managed to up our total with goals from Taranto and Pickett, making it 5 then 6 now respectively. We also saw a half-time substitution, once of course we're coming back with the previous goal scorer, our initial goal scorer, Kiara Renopoulos, coming off, being replaced by Holly Murray. Murray, unusual starter, a more defensive position. So it certainly showed that perhaps we'll try and make a bit more of a defensive structure, ensuring that if we do need to come back plus a bit, we're capable of doing that. Of course, Murray herself is very capable of playing within the midfield, so it's very much a player that's a defensive midfielder. It's probably the best description, and certainly the best positional player we could use in such a situation, given their scoreline and potential needs to just keep defending that scoreline. Otherwise, just keeping to the goals, we would eventually see our 7th goal by the boot of Kat Goff. Our second substitution for the match, seeing Bella Stringfellow come on, replacing the well-performing young Cassie Carman, which is her first starting 11 appearance for the season. We would then see an 8th by Francesca Iramano, and a 9th, but also to make it a hat-trick for Caitlin Pickett. As for the last 10 minutes or so, they certainly allowed us far too much opportunity just to let players breathe and just relax a bit. So we'd also see introduction of Natalie Petrak, getting her opening minutes and during a league fixture, at least we do believe this is her first minutes. Otherwise, we eventually see the multiple goal scorer in Kat Goff coming off, being replaced by Georgia Candelas, who is very much a regular rotation player and often gain minutes off the bench, much in the way of Carmen. Is one of those players that in the next season or two certainly continue to make more and more minutes and will be very firmly within our senior squad within their own right quite soon. In the end, we went on to win 9-0, with our UCA going to our hat-trick hero in Caitlin Pickett.
Although one back by South Melbourne, Trinopoulos there, threads the ball through. It's out wide now for Jana Lawson. She shot across, it's a cross, and it's a goal! South Melbourne striking early here. Kiara Chronopoulos there started the move, finished the move, and South Melbourne early on in this game. Another ball through here, that's Kat Goff on the ball. Will she shoot or will she cross it across? She attempts to cross it across, and it's another goal for South Melbourne. Jana Lawson, she does make it 4 goals in 4 games. The first 6 minutes has ended up 2-0 to South Melbourne, and they're still going here. Jana Lawson on the ball, options in the penalty area once more, but she'll go herself, and it's not quite saved by Quinn, and it's another goal. A little mistake there by Bayside goalkeeper Kelsey to break again here. Danger areas now for Bayside. It's a 2-on-1 here. The ball is crossed across the goal at the feet of Pickett, and a shot, and it's in the back of the net. Bayside goalkeeper Kelsey Quinn with a hand to it, but unable to keep it out of the goal, and the lack of celebration, I think, tells the story. And that's yet another goal for South Melbourne, direct from that corner. A fantastic finish there. You don't see too many of those. South Melbourne again, there's a 4-on-2 developing here. Ball through to Goff. She's got 2 targets to aim for in the middle here, Goff. And she's cut it back, and that is another goal for Caitlin Pickett. And Goff has put it on a plate for her, right on the penalty spot there, and all she had to do was just open up and turn it home. Fantastic ball through there for the speed of Goff, and she has an opportunity to shoot here, and she does! And Kat Goff gets her goal. South Melbourne with their first of the second half. And it's 7-0 now. Too long there. South Melbourne, someone's just got to hold their run there. But another opportunity here to whip the ball in from the other side. Goff on it once more. Can she cut it back? She can! And that's another goal to South Melbourne, their 8th goal of the game. Francesca Iamano. Able to cut it back to another teammate. Oh, South Melbourne just playing around them like training cones at the moment, and another shot and another goal to South Melbourne. Caitlin Pickett. That is another goal to Caitlin Pickett. Her 3rd or 4th. There have been so many goals at Lakeside today. It is.
So what were the likes of the other results throughout the league for both the 8th and 9th rounds? So for the 8th round, we saw Alamein host FB Emerging at Dorothy Labour. Relatively close affair, Alamein going on to win 1-0. Calder hosted Box Hill. They would go on to win 2-0 at home. Bayside also hosted Heidelberg down at Kingston Heath. Heidelberg would go on to win 5-2 there at Kingston Heath. Certainly a ground that they like to score at, and they do tend to perform rather well there. Otherwise, for the 9th round, we saw Box Hill host Bulleen Lions. Box Hill would manage to scrape a point from that affair, going on to see a 1-1 draw. Alamein, back at home, this time against Heidelberg, they would go on to lose 2-1. Certainly Alamein have been seen to struggle for results here and there, when they've been really needing it, unlike the start of their season. So perhaps they're not quite kicking things off the same rhythm that Heidelberg have been managing to. Whilst, of course, ourselves, we had our 9-0 victory at Lakeside. Otherwise, Calder United will go on to win 5-0 up at Knox against FV Emerging. So as for the table, up top stands Heidelberg United on 21 points. In second, we see Calder United close behind on 20. With 16 points stands Bulleen Lions. In fourth, on 13 points, stands Alamein. In fifth, Box Hill with 10 points. Close behind ourselves on 9 points. In seventh, we will see FV Emerging with 8 points. And last place, we see Bayside United still with their 2 draws. Another fact of note is, of course, the swift change in our goal difference thanks to that 9-0 victory, meaning we are only 1 goal behind a positive goal difference. So as we come into this weekend's fixture, perhaps if we can win by 2, we'll certainly be in the clear for a while, which is something we need, because we need to keep getting results, and perhaps we still can potentially make finals, given the way we've spent most of our season. Which, on a points basis, we're only 4 points behind Alamein. Alamein certainly struggled a little bit here and there. We say we can't do it, but we certainly do need to be getting results soon. And this weekend is very much a strong opportunity for us to close that gap, which we will get to momentarily. First of all, we'll see Calder United host Bulleen Lions from this Saturday, the 4th of June, as it kicks off at 3 p.m. up at Keilor Park. From 3:30, we'll see Bayside host Box Hill down at Kingston Heath. Otherwise, we'll be hosting Alamein, hence why it's such a key opportunity for us, from 4 p.m. on Saturday the 4th. Otherwise, FV Emerging will be hosting Heidelberg United from 3 p.m. on Sunday the 5th. And that very much wraps things up quite nicely. The only other point of contention we do have is, of course, this evening's cup fixture between ourselves and Caroline Springs George Cross. This is for 6th place, so the 6th round of the Nike FC Cup. And a victory at Lakeside tonight will see us go through into the semi-finals. So for all those who can make it, kick-off is at 8:15. Otherwise, the game will be streamed live and free, as per usual, on NPL TV or via Football Victoria's Facebook platform. Until next time, we have been the LIS Fan TV. Come on, Ellis.